Hello and welcome. So in this section we will be learning how can we configure database availability group. So in our previous lecture we learned what is DAG and what are the best practices and what are most important points that we have to keep in our mind before we configure DAG. So in this lecture we will be configuring database availability group without any IP address assigned. So we got IP-less DAG where we are not going to assign any IP address, and we also got a DAG with IP address. So whenever you are configuring, like you want a separate network adapter configured with an IP address, and you want all database availability group traffic to pass through that network adapter, what you can do is you can just install or use a separate adapter for that and then assign IP address to your DAG. So that is IP configured DAG, and what you're doing is like the replication and the MAPI, every communication that is taking place between those DAGs, it is through a separate network adapter. And most organization they do not want those overheads, and they just want a simple solution. So what they do is they configure IP-less DAG, where you do not need to assign an IP address to your DAG database availability group, and simply add servers and everything, and then the replication of the DAG is going to be through one network adapter, or through the network adapter that is primary network adapter and that is configured in your network. So in this scenario, we have got only one network adapter in here, if you can see, and if I go to change adapter settings, you can see I only got one network adapter with this IP address assigned. So I'm going to use IP-less DAG in this scenario. So what we will do is in order to configure DAG, you have to go to Exchange Admin Center, and then you can click on Servers and then DAG, Database Availability Group. Click on add sign and simply name your DAG. So this is a group name for your DAG. I will name it Elmjo Tech DAG. And it all depends on your naming convention requirement. So whatever your naming convention requirement is, you can use that naming for that for it. So the witness server is actually any server that is server Windows Server 2003 or later. So if you have a server that is member of of your domain controller and is 2003 server or more, or later than that, you can use that server as a witness server. So there are no conditions, are no rules to use a specific server as your witness server. But what best practices says is whenever you are using a witness server, use a file server as your witness server. That's one of the best practice. But most organizations, in order to save the money, what they do is they use their domain controller, for example, as a witness server. You can still use that, but the thing is that it is not a best practice. The best practice is to use a file server as a witness server. So in order to configure the witness server in here is simply what you need to do is you need to add the server name. So in order to add the server name, what are we gonna do in here is we are gonna use our Sacramento LGO DCO1 as a witness server, because we don't have any file server available. And I'll just go to C drive. I have already created a folder all you need to do is simply create a folder on any location that you want to use that location as a witness location for your DAG, and just go back to your Exchange server. And now what you need to do is you need to specify the server name. So it is SAC ejo exc01, and then it is asking for the directory. So it is on that server. Oh, sorry, it is on that server, and it is called Exchange DAG. I will simply name it DAG. So this is Exchange DAG. As I said, it is not uh, IP DAG, it is IP less DAG. So you can see that DAGs with member servers using Windows Server 2012 R2 or later don't need DAG IP addresses. You can assign a static IP address, or you can utilize DHCP by adding 000. So we are not using any IP configuration in this scenario. So this is IP less. So that's all you need to do for now. Simply click on save, and let's see if we are not going to get any errors or any issues. Alright, so it is added now. The next thing that we will do is, as a step number 2, is manage DAG members. So now you need to tell your DAG like who is the member of these servers, like a DAG group. So right now we got like two mailbox servers. I will just use both of them, because what is going to happen is that the DAG or the database availability group is going to be between this and this server. And if one of these servers goes down, because we still have the database copy in this server, we will still be able to access our mailboxes. And I'll just show you in a moment. So once I press on OK, the next thing is click on save, and it is going to add the DAG members for us. And let's wait and see. Alright, so I just got an error, and you can see that Microsoft Exchange Replication Servers does not appear to be running. And when you see here, the servers is still powered off. So I'm sorry for that, but the good thing is that we know what's the error. So I'm going to just run the job again once this Exchange server is up and running. So this is one of the good catches for you, and that is like if one of the services in your Exchange server is not running, you may end up with error. So always make sure that the services on both servers are running and your Exchange is up and running, like both servers or the members that you're adding is active, the services are running, and you have got no issues, no problems. And then try to create a DAG group. So let's wait for our New York Exchange server to start, and then we will simply try again. So let's try again now and see if it is going to work. Alright, so that error is gone, and there is another error saying that cannot be member of this database availability group. A server hosting a file server witness cannot be a member of database availability group. So the DAG is not allowing our file witness server or the witness server to use to use that location, or it's not allowing to store all those data or information in there. So the reason behind that is that whenever you are making a server as a witness server, you always need to make sure that the Exchange Trusted Subsystem group, which is a default Exchange server group, is member of local administrator on that server. So where is our witness server? Our witness server is here. And this is the server where all the information is going to be stored, right? So in order to make this server as a witness server, you need to make sure that the local administrator on this server is member of Exchange Trusted Subsystem. So I did not add all those information on purpose because I just wanted to show you if you don't add it, what error you will get and what are the workaround for behind that or for that. So I'm just trying to make you familiar with the errors that we are getting. So as this is a domain controller, you cannot just go to computer management and use local administrator. You simply need to go to Active Directory users and computer, and then when you go here, you simply need to go to administrators group, which is somewhere here. So administrator group, right click, find, not user, so not uh, let me just simply click here and go to administrator and um, so it is going to be for administrators group again, not administrator user. So you got like one default administrators group and then one default administrator user. So make sure it is member of administrators group so that all administrators can have access to witness server. So go to administrators and then add exchange. When you type exchange, it will bring up this, and then this is exchange trusted subsystem. Apply, okay, and then close this. Go back to the exchange server and cancel it. Try to add them again. Add um, SAC EJO and then both of them, and you can see that they are now added as a member. So let's see if we are going to get any other error. Alright, so it says and also server Sakijo cannot be member of this server and host group and also host the file share for this database availability group. The server hosting a file share witness cannot be member of the database availability group that is using file share witness. Alright, so let me just do some workaround and then I'll be back. Alright, so it is a great catch up. So if you see in here, the witness server that I'm using in here is SAC EJO Exchange 01. So I was supposed to use SAC EJO Domain Controller 01, not Exchange 01. So if you make a server as a witness server and then add it as a member of DAG, it's not gonna work. You cannot use the same server as a member of DAG when you're using it as a witness server. So this is one of the common mistakes that most people make, like me. So sorry for that. So, but we were able to find out what exactly the cause is. So I'm going to change it to SAC EJO DCO1 and again make sure SAC EJO DCO1. This time it is good. So now, if I go back, as you can see that the New York is already added because it has no issues. But when I was adding this, it was telling me that, hey, it's a witness server. and you're trying to add it as a member of DAG, we cannot do that because it is not allowed. And then when I went to the properties of our DAG and I saw that the witness server that I'm using is SAC-EJO Exchange 01, and that's the main problem. That's the main thing that I did. So I can skip all these things, but I'm not skipping it because I want you to learn and just uh, learn from errors that I am making. Some errors that I'm making is on purpose because I want you to make sure that you're learning all those errors and you're familiar with all those errors. And there are some other errors that when I'm making it, I'm not just pausing the video. I'm just making sure that whatever I do, you know it. So the good thing is that we were able to find out the problem, and as you can see that the DAG group that we have created and the witness servers is DCO1, and this is the member server. So if I go back to SAC EJO DCO1 and then I go to Exchange DAG1, you can see that it created a text file in here, and then it is going to start copying everything that belongs to the server as a witness. So now the next thing that you can do is if you go to databases, you can see that the databases that we have in here is um, mounted, and this is not mounted. So the New York is mounted and the other ones are not mounted. So what can we do is we can simply the thing that I just wanted to show you, which is part of DHE, and that is that you can see that the mailbox database that we have in here, the only server that we have is one, which is New York. So what we want to do is we want to make this database um, as a part of, like, it should copy uh, everything into New York Exchange Server and then Sacramento Exchange Server. So it is what we are trying to do in here is we are trying to copy everything on this database to New York Exchange and Sacramento Exchange. So in case the New York Exchange goes down, the Sacramento office, because we already got the copy of this mailbox database, the users will not lose connectivity. So add database copy, and what can we do is we can simply servers hosting a copy of this database is this, specify mailbox server. This is the SAC EJO, so I'm going to add another server in here and press save. So it is going to add a copy, mailbox database copy. So it is going to copy from New York database to Sacramento database, and then if one of those databases goes down or one of those servers goes down, we will still be able to access our mailboxes. Users will still be able to um, access their mailboxes because they already have copy on two different servers, and two mailbox databases. So that's the concept of DAG. So you are having two or more than two uh, databases on different servers, making sure that if one goes down, you still have the other uh, database available on the other server. So this is completed, and now you can see that this database is having copy on New York and Sacramento office. So let me try to this is dismounted, and both of them are now mounted. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing in here for our Sacramento office. So I'm going to copy the database from Sacramento office to New York office and New York office to Sacramento office. So it is now copying everything from Sacramento to New York Exchange servers. It is creating a copy of database in in an Exchange server which is at New York. So DAG is really good because, as I said in our previous lectures, that in Exchange Server 2007 we were using clustering, Windows clustering features, and most of the time it was really hard to manage it. But DAG is really simple and easy to manage, and it works great. So I'm going to add this too and click on save. Alright, so it is now completed. I'll close this out, and so the DAG is now configured. Um, so this is how we can configure DAG, IP list DAG. I hope you have learned something, and I'll see you next lesson.